Hello friends, in this tutorial you will learn about ttkbootstrap library for building beautiful GUI interfaces with Python and Tkinter. The Python program you are seeing on the screen is built using ttkbootstrap library and Radial. As you can see that the user interface is quite beautiful and professional compared to a standard Python Tkinter GUI. I will run the code right now of this particular program. Now you have to give the COM port number, which will be 3, and this program will log the data that is coming from a Arduino to a CSV file on the disk. So you have to set that the baud rate 9600 and a log interval. Let's put it 1 second. So I'll click the start logging button and you can see that the system is logging data coming from the Arduino. You can see that the interface, that the graphical user interface is quite beautiful and professional. Well, it's looking more like 2026 instead of the 1990s. So this is what ttkbootstrap library allows us to do. So in this tutorial, I will teach you how to create the various graphical user interface elements such as the button, the text entry box that we are using right now, the drop down menu, and the other text entry boxes. So I'll stop the logging right now. So right now we will focus on the ttkbootstrap library, the basic widgets of the ttkbootstrap library. Now this is the basic rundown of my ttkbootstrap tutorial. So the first thing we are going to learn is how to install the ttkbootstrap library on Windows and Linux. There are certain differences between the Windows installation and the Linux installation. So in our tutorial, we will show that how to do that and also explain the differences. Now then we will learn how to create a basic window. So that will be this one. This is the basic window. Then we will learn how to place labels, button and their positions on the window so that we can create the user interface. Then we will learn how to handle events like clicks, how to close the window. Then we will learn how to create an entry box. So that would be this one in our program. So here we are using the entry box to give the COM port entry here. Then we will also learn to create drop-down boxes. That is the one used for selecting the baud rate. Now we will be using scrollable text box. That will be this one, where we can show a continuously rolling data. We'll also learn how to create radio buttons and check buttons. These are not actually shown here. Then we will learn how to display different types of images on the ttkbootstrap window. After you have learned about the basic widget, we will learn how to create tables using ttkbootstrap. For that, we'll be using the TableView widget. This is ideal for displaying the tabular data that is available from databases or for displaying CSV values, that is the comma separated values. So in the next section, we will learn how to create analog GUI meters. These are radial meters that are used for displaying continuously varying quantities. All the source codes are available on GitHub and are under permissive licenses. There is also a companion website available for free. This is a long video, so we have put the timestamps in the descriptions. And always, please do like, comment and subscribe. If you have any doubts regarding the programming issues, just put it in the comment section. I will try to answer that for you. So we also have a companion website for this particular tutorial. This is the tutorial website. The link for this particular tutorial is available in the description of our video. So for our project, we'll be using the standard Python. You can download the standard Python from going to python.org, this one, and you can download it from here. We'll be using Windows, so download for Windows. The version is 3.12.2. Now I have already downloaded the Python. Now you can install it. So make sure that you click this one, add python.exe to path. Then you can either install it using this one, install now, or you can do the customized installation. So I'll be going for the customized installation. So as you can see from here that pip is already installed, which we will be using to install other programs. And we can also see that we have TCL and TK. So that will be useful for developing our Tkinter application. So you can press next, and then you can change the directory from here. Now just press the install button. Now we'll be using Tkinter to develop the graphical user interface of our program. Now Tkinter may look a little bit old, so we'll be using something called as ttkbootstrap, which is like a theme extension for Tkinter that makes it look modern. So we'll be installing this one. So for that, you have to check whether ttkbootstrap is installed or not. You have to install Python first. So I have the Python installed right here, and then you can use the pip program to install the ttkbootstrap library. For that, you have to type pip install ttkbootstrap. You can press enter right now. Now you can use the pip list command to check whether these things are installed or not. So I will list it. So we can see that the ttkbootstrap is installed on our system, and we can start developing our graphical user interface with that one. This is our website. You can find all sort of embedded system tutorial and products from our website. We manufacture things like USB to serial converter, USB data acquisition systems, and isolated USB serial, things like this one. So if you are interested, you can check out our store. Hello friends, in this tutorial, you will learn how to install ttkbootstrap GUI library on Linux systems. So here we'll be focusing mostly on Debian based Linux system like Ubuntu Linux Mint, Zorin OS, etc. So you can go to the installation page of the ttkbootstrap library, and it will say that you can install the ttkbootstrap library by using this particular command, that is python -m pip install ttkbootstrap. Now if you run this particular command on a Debian based Linux system, you will get certain errors. So in this tutorial, I will teach you how to install the ttkbootstrap by rectifying those errors. So I'll just show you this one. I'll just copy this one. So this is the command line, and I have copied the command here. You have to make a slight change here. It should be Python 3 for Linux system. So I'm going to press enter. Now you can see that there is an error called as externally managed environment. Now it is saying that you can't install ttkbootstrap on a system level package. You have to install it locally by using a Python virtual environment. So according to the latest programming guideline for Python, we have to use virtual environments so that the system packages are not cluttered. Now we have to use a different strategy to install ttkbootstrap. So you can go to our website, that will be this one, and here we will show you how to do that. The link to this particular website is also in the description. So to install the ttkbootstrap library, you first have to install the Tkinter library. So we will use the app package manager and install the Tkinter library. After that, you have to create a virtual environment. Then you have to activate the virtual environment, and then you have to install the ttkbootstrap library locally into the system. So this will not be a system-wide package. It will be installed locally inside your virtual environment. Now all the commands that we are using are available in this particular website, so you can check it out. Now we also have a complete Python GUI design tutorial using ttkbootstrap and Tkinter on our website. Now we are going to install the ttkbootstrap on a Ubuntu system. Here I will be using Ubuntu 25.10. This method is similar for all Debian based systems like Zorin OS, Linux Mint, Ubuntu, etc. So I'll use the fast fetch, and you can see that it's Ubuntu. Now the first thing we have to do is to install the Tkinter library. Since ttkbootstrap is a theme extension for Tkinter, we have to first install the Tkinter library. Then only ttkbootstrap will work. So you can also use apt or apt-get to install the Python Tkinter. So you can press enter, give the password. Now Tkinter is installed on our system. You can check that. So I'll clear the screen, call my Python interpreter, Python 3. Then I can import Tkinter. So there is no issue. Now you can also create a simple test program for this one. For that you have to type tkinter dot underscore and test. So this will create a small Tkinter window. So you can see a small Tkinter window is there. You can click me, and you can also. So this particular method has created a simple Tkinter window, implying that the Tkinter is properly installed on our system. The Tkinter is actually installed system-wide, so you can access it even outside the virtual environment. So you can quit this one. Now we are going to install the ttkbootstrap library. So before doing that, you have to create a Python virtual environment using when. So if you are new to Python virtual environment, you can check one of our tutorials. So the link for that particular tutorial is in the description. So I'll also explain it right now. We'll clear this one. So we'll create a directory. We'll go inside the directory. Now we have to create the Python virtual environment inside this particular directory. So for that, you have to write python 3 -m n, that is the virtual environment that we'll be using. Name of our virtual environment is also pen. So we'll get an error stating that you have to install ensure pip. So you can just copy this particular command here and install it. See, my Linux installation is a fresh installation. That is why I'm getting these things. If you have already created a virtual environment for other project, you won't be getting this particular issues. So we'll install the ensure pip. Now the ensure pip is installed. I'll clear it and I will create the virtual environment. You can see there is a folder called ven inside the ttkb_tut directory. That means that the virtual environment is created. Now if you go inside the file system, this is the ttkb directory. So if I open this one, you can see the ven directory. Then inside that there will be bin include library 64 and configuration files. So the ttkbootstrap would be installed in the lib directory. So now we will install the ttkbootstrap. So before installing ttkbootstrap library, you have to activate the virtual environment. So for that you have to use the activate scripts. You use the source command to run the activation script, which is inside ven bin -activate. So we can see that the prompt have changed to ven right here. So that means that our virtual environment is activated. Now you can install the ttkbootstrap library. So it will be pip install. So this will locally install the ttkbootstrap library inside this particular virtual environment. Now the ttkbootstrap library is installed. If you go inside the file system, inside the library, site packages, you can see that the ttkbootstrap library is installed in this one. So this is a local install. You can also use the pip list command. So you can see that ttkbootstrap is also installed on this particular virtual environment. Now we'll create a simple program. So I'll use the nano text editor and I'll write import ttkbootstrap and then root equal to dot capital window, then root dot main loop. So this is a simple program that will create a ttkbootstrap window. You can save it right now. So you can see ttkboot.py here. Now I'll run this code. So you can create a so we have created a simple ttkbootstrap window here. So you can add more widgets to this particular window and create a full-fledged program. So now I'll close this window. Now this ttkbootstrap library is only available inside this virtual environment. If I close this virtual environment, this particular feature, you cannot access the ttkbootstrap library. So I will deactivate it. So now we are outside the virtual environment. And if I run it again, it won't work. It will say no module name ttkbootstrap. This is because ttkbootstrap is locally installed inside your virtual environment. This method will work for all Debian based Linux distributions like Ubuntu, Zorin OS, Linux Mint, etc. So first of all, you can go to the ttkbootstrap website by just a simple Google search. You can get it. Now you can see the different sample themes that are provided by the ttkbootstrap library. Now we can use this particular sample themes in our project. For the ttkbootstrap development, I'll be using an IDE known as Thonny. This is the IDE, and you can get the IDE from the internet. It's an open source IDE. It is actually quite simple to use and very easy to understand. So there are the versions for Windows, Mac and Linux. Now this is the Thonny IDE that is running on my Windows system. Now the good thing about the Thonny IDE is that it is less resource intensive, and you can run it on relatively less RAM. It comes with a built-in Python interpreter. So you can go to the tools section of the Thonny IDE, and from here, option. So you can see that we are using the Thonny python.exe. That is the interpreter that has come with the IDE. So if you're using Thonny, you just have to download the IDE. The interpreter comes with the IDE itself. So if you want, you can also use an external interpreter also. Now, before using a ttkbootstrap, we need to download the package into our IDE. So for that, you can go to Tools, Manage Packages, and from here, for this purpose, you have to have an internet connection. Now you can type ttkbootstrap here, and then you can search on PyPi. So you can see the ttkbootstrap here. You can click on this one. So then you can press the install button. So now this will install the ttkbootstrap so that your Python interpreter can use it. Now this will be installed within the internal Python interpreter of the Thonny IDE. If you have an external Python interpreter that is separate from the IDE, it won't be installed in that one. Now we have the ttkbootstrap installed on our system. The version is 1.10. Now the system is installed on this one. So if you run this code, there won't be any issue. It will just compile and display a window. So this is a basic ttkbootstrap window. You have the window here, the name of the window, and the basic buttons, the minimize, maximize, and the close button. So if you close this, it will close. Now first we have to import the ttkbootstrap library. So I'm using this one, the import button, the import command. So then we will create a window. For that we call the ttkbootstrap.window function. So this will create the window, and then we'll use the root, this one, and we'll give the title of the window as hello world. And you can also declare the size of the window. So it is 800 x 600. So it will be 800 pixels wide and 600 pixels height. So if you change it, the size also changes. This is the letter X actually. So this is the root main loop. This is the main loop that continuously monitor your graphical user interface for clicks and other changes. So this is required for the proper running of the program. So you can change it if you want to. So now I have changed the height. As you can see, this height is different right now. Now you can, this is just a variable name. You can use any variable name. So if you want, you can use the letter R. So I'll be using the classical term root here. Now the ttkbootstrap also comes with built-in window themes. We have two different types of themes. One is called as the light theme and the other one is called as the dark themes. So you can get the full themes from the website. So you can check it which one you want. You can use that one and you can implement that with the your own window. Now we'll give it a separate theme. So you can give the name something like, so we have to give the theme name equal to superhero, which is the name of the theme that we are going to use. So this is what superhero theme looks like. You can also use something called as a dark theme. So I'll use something called darkly. So you can see the change, the color has changed. So all the graphical user interface inside this will have the same color scheme if you are using the darkly theme. So this is how you can change the theme of your window, and you can find the full list of themes from the ttkbootstrap website. Now in this particular ttkbootstrap window, you can see all the three buttons, the minimize one, the maximize one, and the close button. Now let's say you don't want the close button, you want to gray it out, so that's it's inactive. So you can do that by using root.resizable 0, 0. Now we have made the maximize button inactive. So we cannot change the size of the window. If I run this thing, the maximize button will be grayed out. Also, you cannot change the sides by dragging it. So all these things are disabled. Now you can also make it disabled only in one direction. This is, you're disabling it along the X and Y direction. That is how it works. So if I just enable the X-axis by making it 1. So if I run this one, we can only move along the x-axis. So you can change it along this axis, that is the x1. You cannot drag along the y-axis. So you can also change it the other way, where you make the x-axis 0 and the y equal to 1. Now you can only move it along the y-axis like this. X-axis is disabled. It will show like that, but you cannot pull it. So if you don't want this facility, just don't add this one. You can just delete this one. So sometimes you may have certain windows who you don't want to resize it. So for that particular purpose, you can use this one by setting the resizable equal to 0, 0. Now, most of the time, you don't need that. Here we will learn how to create labels using ttkbootstrap. Now, labels are small text that are placed on the window so that you can inform the user. So for that one, we have to create a variable called myLabel and then ttkbootstrap dot label, and then we have to provide the text that we want to display on the label. So I'll just use hello world. Then we have to display the label on the window. So we have to place that particular label on our window. So for placing a label on the window or placing any graphical user interface on the window, we can use either the pack method, the grid method, or the place method. So here I'll use pack method, which is a very simple way to place a label. So it will be mylabel.pack. Now I'm going to run this particular program. So you can see the label hello world is here. Now I have created 3 labels and I'm going to place it on the window. So all these labels are placed one above the other. That's because we are using the pack method. Now you can also change the vertical spacing between the labels by using the pad X and pad Y options of the pack method. So pad Y will change the vertical and pad Y will provide the horizontal. So I'm providing a distance of 10 pixels between each labels. So you can see the distance has increased. As you can see that the font of the labels are same, and if you want we can change the font and the size of that text on these labels. For that you have to use the font parameter. So you have to provide comma here, then font equal to bracket. So Arial will be the name of our font and the size will be 30. So I'll run this again. Now the label one will have the font Arial and size 30. So you can also make it bold or italic also. So now the Arial, the hello world one is bold. You can also change it to italic. One L only. See, now the hello world is italic. Now you can also change the color of the text using the foreground property. You have to provide the name of the color. So it will be red here. So you can see the color is red now. Now it is blue. So instead of using color names, we can also provide the hex value also. So let's say you want to give a particular color to your font. You can use a image program like GIMP and you can create your own colors. For example, and you can get the HTML notation, that is this one, and you can put it here. So when you are putting that here, you have to use the hashtag, then you have to use this one. So you can specify the color in this way also. So if you run this thing, the color will be similar to the one we have here. So in this way, you can select your own color also. Now you can also use predefined templates for your label also. For example, there are specific themes for the label also. So you can select that using. So you can find that inside the style guide provided by the ttkbootstrap library. So here we have to provide us. These are the available style guides for your label. So instead of foreground equal to this one, you have to provide boot style equal to So primary is this one. So I'll take this primary. So as you can see, the color is hello world, similar to this one. You can also use secondary. So in this way, you can select different themes for your label. Now I have made some changes to our program right now. I have created 3 labels and have given them 3 different fonts. So on running the program, you can see there are 3 hello worlds. Each are having different fonts and are placed one above the other. That's because we are using the .pack method. Now let's say you want to place these labels at specific points. For that, you have to use something called as place. So I'm going to use that one. That you have to provide both x and y coordinates where to place your label. So instead of .pack, I'll be using .place now. So the .place method helps you to place the label absolutely. So you can just give the x and y coordinates. So x equal to 10, comma y equal to 10. So this will be placed something like this here. So I'm going to place them all in the same line. So in this way, you can place the labels at absolute places by using the x and y coordinates. Now here we will learn how to create buttons and how to handle button click events using ttkbootstrap. Now first thing we have to do is to import the ttkbootstrap library. So you need to install ttkbootstrap first. Now we'll create our button. We'll call it my button. So we'll then call the button. We'll add a text. Now we'll use the pack command to add the button to the main window. So this will just create a simple button. So this button is actually clickable, but if you click it, nothing will happen because we have not connected the button to its button handler. The button handler is the code that will run when you click the button. So I can also change the theme of the button. Now it's a red button. You can go to the theme page of the ttkbootstrap library and you can select the what sort of theme you want. You can put it here. You can also position the button a little bit down. So to create a button handler, we have to define a function. So we'll call it def. So when you press the button, this function will run and it will print you clicked me on the command line. So to connect your button with your button handler, you have to use the command keyword. So command equal to name of the handler. So no need to add the parenthesis. So this is the command equal to my button handler. Now we are registering this particular function with this particular button. So whenever we click this button, this will run. So I'll run the code. So when I press hello, this message you clicked me will be printed here in the shell. So you can see at the bottom, this here, you can see that one. As you click, you can say it's saying you clicked me. Now we are going to create an entry widget. An entry widget is a widget used for entering some information into your window. Now for that you have to create a small entry widget. We'll call it entry. So you have to use the ttkbootstrap.entry. Now I will just place it on the window. So this will create a small entry box. So this is the entry box. I mean, it doesn't do anything right now. So we have to create a method by which you can take some information from the entry box. So for that purpose, we'll create a small button. So when you press the button, whatever we have entered here, that will be taken inside and print, and it will be printed on the console. That will be here. So we'll add some distance from the top. So the text will be press me. So this will create a button. Now we will have the text equal to press me here, and the command for will be button1 underscore handler. Now this is where we have to put some code that will get the information from the entry box and print it on the shell. That will be here. So I'll just run it. I have to define this one, a button handler first. So I'll put the code later. Just want to see. So when you press this, that information will be shown here. Now that's just a dummy value. So here we'll be using the get method of the entry widget to get the information that we have entered into the entry box. So when you click this button, this particular code will run and it will get the information from that box and it will print out on the shell. That will be here. So I will say. So I'll press this thing and this text will be printed. So you can see this print. This text has been printed here. So after pressing the button. So this is how the widget will work. Hello friends. In this tutorial, we will learn how to create an auto-scrolling text box in Tkinter or ttkbootstrap. Now here we are using Tkinter, but we have also installed the Tkinter theme extension known as the ttkbootstrap. As you can see in the window, you can see that the values are being slowly scrolling down. Now the newly created values are shown at the bottom, while the old ones are pushed up. So the user is always aware about the latest values. So this is done using the ScrolledText Box from the ttkbootstrap library. Now I'll tell you how to make this thing auto scroll. So we'll close this window and we'll start the tutorial. Now before this, you have to understand that we have to install the ttkbootstrap library using the pip installer. So you can also check out our ttkbootstrap tutorial, which is available on our YouTube channel. Now first we have to import the various constants and the libraries required to create a scroll text. So first we will make a simple example. So I'll run this particular program. So we have a text box and we have a button. So when I press this button, some text will come like this. Okay. So I'm going to press the button. So I'm pressing it 5 times. Now I'll press it again. But you can see that the text box is not updating. It is not showing the 6 and 7 like that. So what is happening is that all the values are pushed downwards. By using the vertical scroll bar, you can scroll down and see that the values are being updated, but they are not shown to the user. So for that, we have to make some changes to the scroll text box. So we have to import the various things that are required for this one. So we'll create the text box here, scroll text, height equal to 5, width equal to 50, all those things. Then we will pack it. Now I'll create a button. So when we press this particular button, text will be added to the text box. So whenever you click it, it will call the button1 handler. So it will go here and it will update the count. So whenever you press 1, it will update the count and will insert that data into the text box like this one. So that is how it will work. Now to make our text box auto updating, you have to insert this particular line. So we have to use the C method and we will tell the method that we have to show the end of the line. So if you put this one and run the code, this thing will auto scroll. I'll show you 1 2 3 5 6 7, like the latest values are shown here while the older ones are being pushed upwards. So in this way you can build a text box that will automatically show the latest value that is being presented to the user. Now that's one way to do it. Now this is an auto scrolling. I mean, I'm not pressing anything, but this thing is constantly being updated. So that is done by using the run.after method. So I'll tell you how it works. So everything is same. We are creating a text box here. Then we are calling something called as the update underscore function. This is the update function, this one. This will constantly update the text box. So we have a value called as count. Count is equal to 0. And inside this one, we are telling the function that we are using the global count and we are going to increment it once. So after the incrementation, we have to insert that value, that is auto scrolling text box, and the count value here. And then we have to call this particular line, textbox.c tk.end, so that the text box will display the latest value at the bottom. Now after that, it will come here and it will wait for 600 milliseconds. After that, it will call the update function again. Then it will come here, it will increment the count by 1, insert the new count in this line, and then it will call this particular line and it will show the latest value which is at the bottom. After that, it will come here and do this thing again and again. So this is how the text box is getting auto updated. Here we will learn how to create a combo box using ttkbootstrap. Now combo box or a drop down box can be used to select a list of specific values. For example, you want to select specific values for your baud rate. In the case of a serial transmission or something like that, we can use a combo box. So this is the basic setup. We have the my combo here equal to ttkbootstrap.combobox, and then we are using the pack method to put the combo box on the window. Now I will run this program. So you can see the combo box is created here, but it is completely empty. We have to populate this combo box. For that, we have to create a list of options. Now I have created a list called options, which contain the baud rate or 13 numbers like 1200, 2400, 4800, 9600, etc. These are standard baud rates. So we will use these numbers to populate our combo box. So we have to give values equal to options. That is the name of the list. Now we will run this code. Now as you can see that the combo box is now populated. Now we can select the values 1200 or 4800 like that. Now to get that particular value, we have to bind the combo box with the event. That is the value selected event. So for that we have to this is how we bind the combo box to the combo box selected event. So when this event is triggered, it will call a function called click_bind. Now we have to create that particular function here. So we'll run this one right now. So when we select a particular value from this drop-down list, the code will come here. I mean, the control will come here into the def click_bind, and it will print the this letter print here. So 4800, and you can see this value is printed here. Now we have to get the actual selected value. For that, we have to use the myCombo.get method. So when now here now it will print the number that we have selected. So it will be 4800. As you can see, 4800 has been selected. If you change it again, it will change like this. Please note that these are all text, so you have to convert them into integers or numbers to use them in your code. So in this section, we will learn how to use check buttons on Tkinter using the ttkbootstrap theme. So this is the code, and I'm going to run this code. So as you can see, we have created a Tkinter window, and there are 3 checkboxes. So when you check on these boxes, that data will be displayed on the shell right here. So I will check the option 1. So you can see that option 1 is equal to true here, followed by option 2 equal to false and option 3 equal to false. So if I change it, so if I click on option 2, it will change actually. So here you can see option 1 equal to true, this one, and option 2 equal to true, because we have checked both of the options, while the option 3 is equal to false. In this way, we can use a checkbox on Tkinter. Now I'll show you how to code that in the editor. Now here we have a basic window which we'll be using for coding our checkboxes. So we have to import the ttkbootstrap library and Tkinter. And we have the window. The window is configured as 500 into 500 pixels. So if I run this, a simple window will come up. Now first we have to create a Boolean variable used for getting the state of our checkboxes. So we'll call it as checkbox equal to tk dot boolean var. Now we are saying that the variable checkbox underscore var is a type of Boolean variable which can contain either true or false. So this will be used to check the state of our checkbox. So there are only 2 states. One is it is checked, which means it's true. Not checked, it means it's false. So here we'll be creating a single check button so that we can easily understand the syntax and how it works. So we'll call it as check button. So check button, you can call it 1 equal to ttkb, that will be this one, dot check small b button. Then you have to give the root, that means it's connected to the root window. Then we have to give the text, that will be the name displayed near the checkbox. Now we have to define a variable. So we'll call it this one, make it small. So the checkbox state will be inside this particular variable. So you can use a function to check whether the check button is checked or not. So then we have to give the name of the function that will run when you check the check button. So we can give it as now we'll pack it. Now before you run the program, you have to define the check button function. So we will create it here. Def, you have to give the same name. And we'll give a simple print button. So our program is now complete. We will run this one right now. So we can see that a simple checkbox has been created. This one, we have given the name my checkbox. That is this one, text equal to my checkbox. And we have defined the command as, that is the function that will run as checkbox underscore status. So I'll click on this one. And you can see under the shell, there is this one here. It will show that you have clicked on the checkbox. So whenever you make a click on this one, whether it is checked or unchecked, it will show. This was just for debugging purpose. So now I will tell you how to get the correct status of our checkbox. So when you check the checkbox, this particular variable checkbox underscore variable will be true. If it is unchecked, this particular variable will be false. So you can get the status from here by using the get method. So I'll say so we know that we have checked the checkbox. So we can see that we have clicked the checkbox underscore variable is showing true. So when I unclick this one, that function will run again, but it will show false. You clicked false. Like this one, you can get the correct status of our checkbox. You can also define multiple checkboxes. So I'll show you how to do that. Now we have to change the variable. So it will be 1 and this will be 2. But we'll be using the same function. So I'll use the format option. This is 2 now. So I will just remove this one. Then I'll run the code. Yeah, we have to define 2 variables here. So we have to give it one more here. Now you can see that we have created 2 checkboxes. So I'll click on the checkbox 1. This will result in running this particular function, def check button underscore status, this one. So I'll click on this one. And you can see that the check button one, that is this one, is true, while the other one is false. So I'll click them again. And now you can see that both of them are true. Now you can also unclick both of them. So you can see both of them are false. In this way, you can get the data from the checkboxes. So here we will learn how to create a radio button using Tkinter and ttkbootstrap library. So this is the program. This will create the 3 radio buttons. So we can choose one option from these 3. So I'll run the program right now. Here I am using the IDE called as Thonny. And before you start, you need to install the ttkbootstrap library. So I'll run the program right here. And it will create a window with 3 radio buttons. These are called as radio button option 1, radio button option 2, and radio button option 3. So when you click on the radio button option 1, the selection is shown in the shell. That is the command line here. So I'll click on radio button option 1 and it will say option 1 selected, this one. And if you click on 2, it will say option 2 and option 3. In this way, you can select the option from the window. So this can be used to select an option that you only need one from one of the 3 options. So now we'll go into creating the radio button using Tkinter. Now we'll create a simple program and we will import the required ttkbootstrap libraries. So here I am importing ttkbootstrap as ttkb, and we also need to import the Tkinter. So import Tkinter as tk. Then we'll create a symbol window using root equal to ttkb.window and then root.main loop. So if you run this program, it will create a symbol window without any radio buttons. So this is the window. Now we will add radio buttons to this particular window. So in the first case, I will only add a single radio button. A single radio button itself does not have any utility. So this is just for demonstration purpose. First, I'll create a single radio button to show the syntax of the radio button in Tkinter. Then we will create a 3-button radio button in which you can select a single option. So we'll have to create a radio button variable. So we'll call it as radio button. So we'll be using the tk.string variable. So this button will contain the data returned by the ttkbootstrap button when the user clicks on the button. So we have to create a string variable. So this is the string variable. So the data will be inside this radio button. It will show whether option 1 is clicked or option 2 is clicked. Now we have to create the radio button. So I'm creating a radio button called radio_button. Then we will use the ttkbb radio button class. Capital R, small b. Then we will give the root. Then we have to give the text that will be displayed near our radio button. So we'll just call it my radio button. Now we have to give a variable which we will be using this one. And finally, we have to give a command. That is the name of the function that will run when you click the ttkbb radio button. So command equal to now we also give a value. So that will be the value. So you have to give a value which is the one that is returned by the radio button when it is clicked. So this value equal to option 1 that will be placed inside the variable radio_button_ variable. So inside this particular command, that is radio button_clicked function, you can check which value is returned. So in this way you can select which one of the radio button has been clicked. So we have to create the command right now. So we'll create the command here, def so I will say so when you click the radio button, it will just print radio button clicked into the command line. And now we will have to pack the radio button so that the window will display it. So I'll just say now I'll run this one. So we have a single radio button here. So when I click this radio button, it will say radio button clicked. So this is the value that will be shown here. So having a single button does not do anything, but I want to display how the syntax is created and how the data is given to the function. So here inside this one, you can also check the data that is being returned by the radio button. So for that one, you can use the variable, that is the radio button_ variable, this one, and you can use the get function. So when you run this program, it will say option 1. See here, radio button clicked, option 1. So this value will be sent to this particular function, that is this one. So if we change it to something else, you can see the changes here if you run the program. So I click the radio button here and it will say option 3. The radio button clicked, option 3. So from here inside this particular function, you can check whether the value you received using radio button_variable.get is an option 1, option 2, option 3, and in this way you can select the variable which you want. So now I'll create 3 more radio buttons so that you can fully understand how the radio button works. So we'll basically copy this one. And we will name it 1, radio button 1, radio button 2, radio button 3. Now the value that will be returned by the first one, that is the radio button underscore 1, will be option 1. This will be option 2. This is option 3. Now you can also change the name of the radio button. Let's change it as button 1 for simplicity. And this one should be button 2. And this will be button 3. And now we have to pack these radio buttons into the window. Now all these 3 radio buttons are actually using the same function when you click them. So both of them will be using the radio underscore button underscore click function here. And they are also using the same variable. So whenever one of the button is clicked, the code will go to this particular function. And from here you can check which radio button was clicked. So in this way, all these 3 buttons are linked to a single function. So I'll run this one. So we have 3 buttons right now. So I'll click on button 1. So it says radio button clicked, and the value of the radio button 1 is shown as option 1 here. So if we click on button 2, it will be option 2. Like this one. So in this section, we will learn how to display an image on a Tkinter window. Now Tkinter does not support all the file format for the images. It only supports PNG files and GIF files. So you cannot display an image that is of JPEG or other BMP or other image formats. So if you want to display an image on the TTK window, you have to use either a PNG image or a GIF image, or you have to convert the JPEG image into PNG or GIF format. If you want to use any other image format, you have to use a extra image libraries. So here we are not going to use any of these things. Here we'll be using just the Tkinter and the ttkbootstrap theme, as you can see from here. So I'll run this code right now. As you can see, the image is displayed on the window. This is a PNG file, and it is on the same directory as the code. So I will tell you how to do this one. So you can also display a GIF image. Now in the case of a GIF image, the animations are not supported here. So you will get a static image. Now to display the image on the Tkinter window, you have to use a class called as the photo image. A photo image will create an image object which we will give to the image property of the label. So first we have to import the photo image. So from Tkinter, import photo image. Now we'll create an image object. So I'll call it image object. So now we have to give the location of the file. So file equal to photo, the name of the file you want to display. So in my case, it will be robot.png. So this is the file that will be displayed. Now I'm using this file name like robot.png because the file is located in the same directory as the code. So here I'll be just giving the name robot.png because the file is located in the same directory. Otherwise, you have to give the complete file name, like in this way, and we have to use the raw format. So to make sure that the backslashes are preserved. So we will not be using that here. We will just give the name of the file,
and we have to use a PNG or a GIF file. Then we'll create a label for displaying our image. So we will use ttkb.label. So that will be something like, we will give the image equal to, then we will pack the label. So you can see the image displayed on the ttkbootstrap window. So if you want, we can change the size to accommodate the image. So this is how you can display an image on the window frame.
Hello friends, in this tutorial you will learn how to create graphical user interface tables in Tkinter using the TableView class from the ttkbootstrap library. Now the original Tkinter library that is shipped with the Python installation does not have any classes for creating tables. So we are using something called as a ttkbootstrap library, that is this particular one, to create beautiful looking tables that we can embed in our Tkinter program. So I'm going to show you an example of the program that we are going to build. So I will start up my IDE. This is Thonny. You can also use other IDEs like the default one that is available on our Python installation. So I'll run this code. So this is the program that we'll be creating. We have a search button on the top that can be used to search the tables, and we have the table. It has 3 columns, one for name, other for age, and the other for email. And we also have the values populated into the table. Now we have 2 buttons at the bottom. One is called as add a row, other one is called as a delete a row. Both are used to add and delete rows into this particular table. So I'll show the add a row option. So if you press this particular button, a row will be added into the existing columns. So you can see the new John Doe has been added. So when you press one more time, another one is added. Now you can also delete it like this. So the top one will go and all the John Does are gone. You can also delete the other one also. So this is how you can add and delete the data from a table. Now you can also use the search function. This is the search functions. You can search for, let's say, Rachel, RA, press enter. It will show you this one. So in this tutorial we will learn how to build this one. So we also have a website. This is the website and this is the URL for that particular website. Now you can go to this one and check out the textual description of the tutorial also. So you also have the source codes which can be downloaded from the website. Just go under the contents source code section and you can download it from here as a zip file, or you can go to the GitHub and browse it. So this is our GitHub. So you can find it here also. So I have Python installed on our system. So you can fire up your command prompt and check for Python. So we have the Python here. Now we also have to make sure that ttkbootstrap, which is an external library, that is installed with our Python installation. So normally it is not installed, so you have to install it. So if you don't have, you have to install it something like this: pip install ttkbootstrap. So this will install the latest version. So nothing was installed because I already have it installed. So you can check it again if you want. Once the installation is complete, you can just check it whether this is properly installed or not. So as you can see, it's there. Now here we are going to create a simple ttkbootstrap table and display some data on that one. So our aim is to create the most basic table so that people are aware about the syntax of creating the table. So the first thing we have to do is to import the ttkbootstrap library as ttk. So make sure that the ttkbootstrap library is installed on your system. Then we import the table view. So that is this particular line. Then we import the constants that are used for displaying the various parameters of the table. Then we create a symbol window using root equal to ttk.window and root.main loop. If you run this program, it will just create a symbol window. So now we have to create the column headers. So for that we have to create a list. So I'm going to give the list name. First we'll create a variable called column underscore headers for storing the name of the column. So we'll have 3 columns. Each will be named name, age, and email address. So we are going to create a list of these 3 variables which we will then pass into our table. So then we have to create the row. So we have to create some data that will be given to the rows. So we create a symbol list here. Then we have to create a tuple that is this particular one within the brackets. Now the first parameter we want to display is the name. So we are going to use the term John Doe. Then we have to give the age. So we'll just give it as 26. That's an integer. And then we have to give another string that will be the email ID. So it will be John Doe. So we will have one row, and this is the data that will be contained inside that particular row. So this is actually a tuple that is enclosed inside a list. So we have both the row and the column right now. Now we'll create the table. So we'll call it as data table. Table view, that is the name of the class. So we have to give the required parameters inside this particular class. We have to connect our table to our window. For that we have to give master equal to root. So master equal to root. Now after that we have to give the column data and the row data. So for that parameters are called as col data equal to, so we have to give the column. So in our case we have named it as column address, so we'll keep this one here, comma. Then we have to give the row data, so that will be ROW. So we have to give the row data here, that will be this one, and that's it. That's the minimum things required to create a table. So we have to pack the data table. So we will put it here something like, then we will run the code and I'll press F5. So we have the very basic table right here. So we have the name, that is the name of the column, and then the age, then the email address, and the name, the first row is there. So it's John Doe, and the age is 26, johndoe@email.com. And you can see that the color scheme is very different from what I have shown you. That is because we have not given any color string. So you can use the bootstrap equal to success or danger or any other parameters to create a unique color scheme. So you can add more rows if you want to. So I'll do that right now. Put a comma here. So I'm just going to name 1, 2 like that. Now you can see that more data is added into the column. Like we have John Doe 1, John Doe 2, John Doe 3 like that. So in this way we can add data into the column. Now I'll teach you how to make it look nice and to have a good padding and other stuff. You can also like and subscribe our YouTube channel. This would help us to create more videos like this. And you can also provide your suggestions in the comment box so that I can see what you want and what you don't want. So please do that. Now I have made a few changes to our program. Now I have added some real names and the corresponding agent email address so that we can use a proper human sounding names in our table. So if you run this program, we can see all the names. So you can scroll it something like this one. So you can see all the names. Now I have also added that some padding to the table. So pad x equal to 25 pixels and pad y equal to 25. That means that there is a small gap between the table and the edges of the window. So you can also increase the number. Let's say we increase it to 125. So now the gap will be very big, something like this one. So this is how the padding works. Now we are going to organize our data, that is the number of rows, into pages, so that at a time only a few are displayed and you can scroll through them. I mean, you can move from one page to another. So for that we have to use the pagination option. Go to the TableView class, and inside that we have to set the page size. So page size is the number of entries that will be shown in a single page. So we'll make it 5. Now we have to give the pagination option equal to true. Now the rows will be organized into pages and each page will contain 5 entries and there will be multiple pages. So I'll run this one. So as you can see, the table is in the middle. That's because we have used the pad x equal to 125. And you can see that it's showing page equal to 1 of 3. So we have 15 entries. So there will be 3 pages and each one will contain 5 entries. So I can move from one page to another using these arrows. So corresponding page equal to 3, page equal to 1. You can see that. So this is how pagination works. Now we can also include a search bar to our table. So for that we have to give searchable equal to true. Now there will be a search bar also. So you can see we have a search bar here. So we can find Lily Coleman here. In this way you can search it. You can also give a really good color scheme to our table using the existing schemes. So you can use the boot style. So we'll go for boot style equal to. So now we are using the success theme of the boot style. So you can see the color change here, and you can also the danger one if you want to. So here I am using the danger one. So you can see the different style. Now let's say we run this code. Now here we can see that the width of the column is same for both name, age and email address. And as you can see that the age column does not require that much space. So here all the columns are having the same size. Now it is possible to adjust the size of this particular column by using the autofit parameter. So I'm going to use the autofit parameter right now. So you can just write it here, autofit equal to true. So this will dynamically adjust the width of each columns. So if the size of the characters in one particular column is small, it will have a smaller column. So now you can see from here that the size of the column has changed. The age column has actually decreased in size because we only have to display 2 numbers. So the column will take the size of the largest member in that particular column. If the size of the number on the age increases, the column width also increases. I'll actually show that right now. I'm going to make the first number quite big. So I'll just use this number. So the size is actually quite big. Now the column will dynamically adjust for that one. As you can see that the size of the column has changed to accommodate the large variable. So in this way, the size can be adjusted dynamically. So that's what the autofit parameter does. We can scale the size of the table by using this particular parameter. First, we will use the fill equal to both. That means that it will expand on both X and Y axis when we drag the window. And we can also provide the expand equal to yes. That means that the table has the option to expand. You have to put it inside the dot pack method, this one. Now you can change. Now I will run this one. So both has to be capital letter. Now you can pull it one. You can expand the window like this. Then the table also expand with it. So in this way, it will take the required space. So that is what this thing does. In the previous examples, we learned how to create a table using the ttkbootstrap library. Now here we will learn how to insert specific data into specific rows inside a particular table. Now during programming, we may need to dynamically update our table. So we cannot give the data beforehand. So in this particular section, we will learn how to dynamically update the table. Suppose you want to display data coming from a particular database or something like that. You have to dynamically update the tables. So here I will teach you how to do that. First of all, I'm going to clean a lot of these things. So I'm going to delete a lot of these things. These are required, but I just want to simplify the interface. So we can concentrate on the specific parts only. So you can remove this one. You require only call data, raw data, autofit equal to true. You can also use the other parameters, but I want to keep the interface clean. I'm also going to remove these two because we are not going to use this right now. Now autofit equal to true. and I have changed the row data. Now it is John Doe 0, John Doe 1, like that, and the ages are from 0, 1, 2, 3. So when I run the program, it will look something like this one. So this is our program. So we have the name, age, email address, and the corresponding rows. The rows are actually numbered from 0, 1, 2, 3. So if you want to insert something into row 0, you have to give the index as 0. If you want to insert something into this row 1, that will be the second one, John Doe 1, you have to give the parameter as 1. Now we will learn how to do that. So first we have to create a new data. The data that we want to insert into the table. So we'll call it that as row underscore inserted equal to. So we'll create a tuple. So we'll first give it a name. Let's call it Emily. Then she's 32. Then email address emily@mail.com. So this is the data that we are going to insert. Now we have to call in the method name of our table dot insert underscore row. So here row should be W. Now we have to provide the index, that is the position at which we have to insert this particular row. So I'll call the index equal to 0. That means that it will be inserted into the first row, and then we have to give the data. So we have to give values equal to this particular tuple. So we will run this one. Now once the row is inserted, we have to use load underscore table underscore data. This is to update the table so that the new row is visible too. So I'll run the code right now. As you can see from here, Emily is inserted into the first row, Emily 32, emily@mail.com. Now if you don't use this particular one, the data table dot load table underscore data, then that data will not be displayed. So I'm running the code right now. As you can see that it is inserted, but it's not displayed because that table is not refreshed. So always call this particular function after inserting any data. Now if you want, you can also insert this particular row into the last row by writing equal to ent. It will get inserted at the last row. So it will be under, see, this is under the last row. So this is how you can insert at whatever position. If you give it the value equal to 1, it will get inserted here. That means between 0 and 1. I'm going to use 1 here. So in this way, you can select the position at which your row is inserted. Now this is inserted on the 0, 1 position. This will be 0. John Doe 0 will be 0. This is the first position, which is equal to index equal to 1, this one. So in this way, you can insert your row wherever you want it. Now in this example, we will learn how to insert multiple records or rows into our table using a single function. So for that, we have to use a function called as data table dot insert underscore rows. The earlier one was just insert underscore row. We have an extra s here, so we have to provide the values. So I have created this value called as rows underscore inserted. It is a list containing tuples of records or rows that we want to insert into our table. So this is this one. So here we have a variable called as rows underscore inserted. So this will contain all the rows or records that we want to insert into a specific table. So this is basically a list. You can see that square bracket here and here containing tuples. Records are actually passed on to the list as tuples, and it contains the name, age, and the corresponding email address. So this is the rows which we will be inserting into our table. So this is our table, and we will be inserting data into this one. As you can see, there is not much data in here, just that usual John Doe stuff. 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4 is there. So we'll insert this particular data, that is the name, Ethan, Ava Richardson, Ethan Murphy, etc. into this particular table. So we will go and insert it right now. So we'll call this particular function data underscore table dot insert underscore rows, and then we will pass the index equal to 0. That means that we will be inserting all this data into the first row, and then we have to give something called as row data equal to the name of this particular list. So earlier we used to give this as values. Now it is actually row data. So this is the one we will be inserting, and then we have to call the data table dot load underscore table underscore data. This is to refresh the table so that the new data is displayed on the table. So I'll run the code again. Now as you can see that the Eva Richardson is inserted into the the first row. Then Ethan Murphy, Isabella Hayes, like that, and the other one, that was the John Doe series, which was present in the first iteration, are all pushed down. So this is how we insert multiple rows into the table. Now we have inserted the rows at the beginning first. Now you can also insert the same rows at the end of the table also. So by changing the index equal to 0, you can change it to index equal to, and then it will be inserted at the end of the table. I will run this code and you can see that. So here you can see that the John Doe series, that is the John Doe 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, they are all on the top, while the Eva Richardson, that has been inserted into the table from bottom up. You can see Eva Richardson at the bottom, then Ethan Murphy, like that. So by using index equal to end, you can insert the rows at the end also. You can also use index equal to 2 or 3, or if you want to insert it in the middle of somewhere also. Now we'll learn how to delete the rows from the table. So for that you have to use the name of the data table, that is this one, followed by the delete row. So we have to give the delete underscore function. So you have to provide the index here. So you can do the index equal to 0. That means that the first row will be deleted. So I will show you the first row before running this program. So I have deleted the other Eva charts and others. So there will only be John Doe 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. So this is the table, and we will be deleting the first value, that will be this one. So I'll remove this comment and then I will run this one. So John Doe 0 will be gone. As you can see that John Doe 0 is gone. So this is how you delete the rows. So for deleting the last row, you can't actually use index equal to end because this particular function does not support it. So you'll have to give the specific integer. Also, you also don't have to call the dot load underscore table underscore data function also. If you don't want to delete the data row by row, you can also delete the data from the entire table using the data underscore table dot unload underscore table underscore data function that is available with the TableView class. So if you run this program, if you run this function, it will completely delete all the data that is present inside your table. Without this function, it will show all these data. But if I run this code by uncommenting this one, the whole data will be dropped. So if I run this, nothing will be there. See, there is nothing there. If you comment this particular line, the data will be back. So this function could be used to purge the entire table. Now it's back because we have uncommented the unload underscore table underscore data function. Now we are going to create a simple app. It will have a table and 3 buttons. One button is for adding a record into the table, another for deleting a particular record from the table, and a third to purge the whole table of all the data. So for that we have to create 3 buttons. So we'll call it as ttk.button. So the first one will be add button. So ttk.button, and we'll call the text equal to add. Then we'll create a command equal to add underscore row underscore table. So this button will add a single row into the table. So we'll create one more. This will be a delete button. So this will delete a single row, and the other will be a purge button, which will just delete the whole table. So this will be purge. Now we have to create a callback function. So when we click on this particular button, we want to execute particular commands. So for that we have to go here and we will use def. So we need to add a row. So we'll create a variable called row_add, which is equal to, so we'll just add some name and then an email address. So every time we are pressing the add button, this particular value will be added into the table. So we have to give the name of our table, that is the data table, on dot insert underscore row. So we have to give the index equal to 0 values, that is the row that we are going to add, will be this one. So once you have added the row, you need to call the load table underscore data function so that the table get refreshed and the added data is shown to the user. So we will use the data table dot. Then we have to create, now we have to create a button to delete the data. So we have to use def, it will be this one, del underscore row underscore table. Now I'm providing the index equal to 0. That means it will delete from the first row. Now I will also add another one, that will be def. So we have to purge the whole table. So it will be called purge underscore table. So this function would completely remove all data from the table. So you can come here and we'll take this one. So if you run this program, it will completely remove all the data. So we have to pack the button. This is the table, these are the buttons. Now we are going to press the add button. You can see that Rohit is getting added again and again. You can also delete the Rohit like this one. You can also use the purge button to completely delete the whole data. See? So now our app is complete and we have all the add and delete buttons and everything inside this. But the table actually looks a little bit bare bones. So you can use the theming of the ttkbootstrap to make it look really nice. So for example, I'm going to add the search bar and other stuff. So you can go here. So here you can add searchable equal to true. So you'll get a search bar. And then we will have something called as boot style. So this will give a good looking theme to this one. I will use the success. So I'll run this one. So it began to change the color of the theme. Now you can make the alternate rows with the different colors by using the stripe color parameter. So that will be this one, stripe color, then none. So alternate lines will be color coded. So we are also going to make the table a little bit bigger. So it will expand on both X and Y axis. And we'll also make the expand section equal to yes. So we have expand equal to, I will run it. Yeah, we have to define the colors first. So you go here, run it again. You can also change the size of the window. So we can so this looks kind of okay. So you can also theme the buttons if you want to. You can use the same boot style. So now this is green. So you can change it to danger for the other two. So this is how you create a table using Tkinter and ttkbootstrap library. So if you have any issues, you can put that in the comment section. I will try to answer that one. And you can find all the code from the GitHub repo. The link for the GitHub repo is in the description of this particular video. And if you like our tutorial, please do like and comment. This would help a lot. and you can also check out our website. The link is in the description. So thank you for watching this particular video. Hello friends, in this tutorial you will learn how to create an analog meter widget using Tkinter and ttkbootstrap library. So here is an example. So as you can see from this particular window, this is an example of a meter created using Tkinter and ttkbootstrap. So you can press this button which will set this meter to a random value. So here now it is 10. The meter starts from here. This is the 0 and it goes around the whole thing like this. So this is the meter you will be learning to create. So when I press this particular button, it will generate random values and that random values will be shown in the meter. So it will be 84. That means that 84% of the meter is there like that. Now you can set it something like this one. Now here we will also learn about the various parameters that can be used to control the behavior of the meter. Now this is another Tkinter program that is using the meter widget. Here we are using the semicircle meter widget. That means that it starts from 0 and goes all the way to 100 here like this. Now it is used for measuring the CPU percentage usage and the RAM usage. So this is a simple program that we have created using the meter widget and the Tkinter ttkbootstrap library. So you can use the meter widgets to create this type of programs that is used for displaying continuously varying quantities like speed, temperature, CPU usage percentage, etc. I will have a separate video on this particular code, that is how to create this CPU RAM usage monitor. If you want to keep updated about this particular code, just subscribe it. So when I release the video, you will be notified. So now back to the analog meter. So this is our website. You can find all the information regarding the tutorial here. You can also find the source code from here. You can go to contents, source codes, and from here you can download it by clicking here. It will come out as a zip file, or you can browse our source codes from the GitHub. We have a repo here, so I'll go to the particular repo right here. So this is our repo. The link to both our website and the repo is in the description of this particular video. So you can click it from there and get access to the repo. The code is under MIT license, so you can use it for your open source as well as commercial applications. Now here we will teach you how to solve the pill image has no attribute cubic error issue. So if you have compiled some code that has a meter widget, especially the ttkbootstrap widget, and have received an error called as this particular error, then we will teach you how to solve that particular error in this video also. So before we start, we want to make sure that your system has a Python interpreter. So you can check it out by typing Python on the command prompt. So I have the Python here. Now you have to make sure that ttkbootstrap is installed on your Python. So you can use the pip installer, that is pip list ttkbootstrap. So this will list all the packages that are installed with your particular Python installation. So you can check whether it is installed or not. So as you can see from here, I have the ttkbootstrap installed on my system. So if it is not there, you have to install it. So you can install the ttkbootstrap by issuing the following command, that is pip install ttkbootstrap. Here nothing will happen because I already have it installed. So this is the official ttkbootstrap website, and I'm here in the meter widget section. So all the APIs and parameters are listed in this particular page. So this is the code I'll be running. So this code actually has an error which I want to highlight. So and I will also tell you how to rectify that particular error, so that if you're using the code directly from the website, you can use it properly. Now I have this is my IDE. This is the Thonny IDE. I'll just copy the code directly from the website. So this is the examples I'll be using, this particular one. So I'll just copy it from here and I'll paste it right here. I have the ttkbootstrap installed in this one, so there is no issue in that. So if you are running this, make sure that ttkbootstrap is installed. And now I will run this one. Now as you can see, there is no meter here and we have an error. So I want to highlight the error here. So this is the major issue. We have some issue with something called as image.cubic, and showing the attribute error, module pill image has no attribute cubic. So we have to rectify that one. So this is because there has been some changes in the library, and this thing is using something called as image.cubic. So that has been depreciated by the pillow library. So before start running this code, we have to change that. So you have to go here and you have to make sure that from pill import image, then image.cubic. So this is the depreciated one. So we have to change it to bicubic, image.bicubic. So equal to. So now that issue is solved. Now we will run it again. Now you can see the meter is there and you can use it as you fit. So you can change it here, do everything like this. So by just changing this line, you can use the code directly from the TTK Bootstrap website. Here we are going to create a very simple meter. So I have a basic TTK Bootstrap Tkinter program here. So on the first line, we are using from pill import image and image.cubic equal to image.bicubic. This is to prevent the error that the image.cubic is depreciated. So after that, we will use the standard TTK Bootstrap. We will import the TTK Bootstrap as TTKB, and we'll also import the constants. So then we create a small root window. So we call it root equal to ttkb.window, and we'll use the root.main loop. These are all standard TTK Bootstrap window creation code. Now we will use the meter. So we'll call it as, we'll just give it a name. So we can call it meter. Meter is equal to ttkb.meter. That's it. So this will just create a meter, and we have to add the meter to the, place the meter on the window frame. So you can place meter dot pack. So this will create a meter and place it on the window. So we have to provide some basic parameters for the meter to work. So the minimum amount of parameter is the amount used and the amount total parameters that are used by the meter to display the data. So you can, so first we'll say amount total equal to 100. That means that the maximum value that will be displayed by the meter is equal to 100. And then we'll use amount used is equal to 50. So now the meter will rotate up to the 50% mark. That is the amount used equal to 50. Now these are the minimum parameters that are required by the meter. There are other parameters, but they will be filled, they will be assumed as default. So we will run this particular code. So this is capital M. I forgot that. So this is the basic meter, and you can see that it is under 50%. This is actually a full circle meter. So we can change it from here. Let's make it 90. So it'll go all the way over there. So this is what 90% looks like. So this starts from here, that is the top part here, and goes all the way up to 100. 100 is here. Now it's up to 90. So this is showing 90 here, like that. So this is the basic and a very simple meter. You can now add some parameters to make it look different. Now we can also change the size of the meter and the padding between the meter and the window. For that, you have to set the meter size equal to 300 followed by comma. So this will change the size of the meter. So this is what a 300 pixel size meter looks like. You can also change it. Let's change it to 800. So this will create a large meter. Now you can add some padding from the top and the bottom. So for that one, you can use the padding, that option. So you can just say padding equal to, let's say 50. So now the meter is like 50 pixels away from the top and the side of the window. You can also change it to 150. This is what 350 looks like. There is now a gap of 350 pixels from the top and the side. This is a gap. Now the TTK Bootstrap meter widget comes in two shapes. One is known as the full meter and the other one is known as the semi-circle meter. The one that I'm showing right now on the display is the full circle one. Here the first digit start from here and it goes all the way up to here. This will be the 100, that is the amount total equal to 100. 100 will be here and next to it will be 0 and it will go all the way along like this and reach here. The meter rotates like a clock, that is in the clockwise direction. It increments from 0 to the maximum value. Now there is one more option that is known as the semicircle option. So to control the shape of the meter, that is whether we want it to be semicircle or circle, you have to use a particular variable or a parameter called as the meter type. So here is the meter type parameter. So I'm going to add that here. So here is the meter type equal to, so if you want semi, you can use semi within quotations, and now you can run this thing and the meter will be semicircle meter. You need to have a comma here. So this is the semicircle meter. So the 0 starts from here and it goes all the way like this anti-clockwise towards the 100. That will be, this is what. So I'll just change the amount is equal to 100. So this will look something like this. So as you can see, 0 to 100. I'll also show you the 90. So this is the 90. It starts from 0 to go, it goes all the way like that to 100 is here. So it's 90 here, like that. Now if you want a full circular meter, you can give the option full. So you can just change semi to full. So when you run this thing, it will be a full meter. So you can see it starts from here and goes all the way like this. So this is how you select the meter shape. So by default, it will be full. So I'm going to take it as semi right now. Now you can also change the thickness of the meter dial. That is this one, the blue colored line that is displaying the values on the meter. Now you can also change the size of the meter dial. That is this one, the blue line that is representing the values. So for that we have to use a variable or a parameter called as meter thickness. So I'm going to increase the meter thickness. So that will be somewhere here. We will use meter thickness equal to. So you have to give some value. So I'm going to give it as 5, comma, then I'll run the code. So the size is actually reduced. Now it's smaller. So you can also go to 1. So it's basically a line now. You can also change it to 10. Now this is what 30 looks like. In this way you can change the thickness of the dial. Here you can see that the dial is continuous. That is, there is no gap between the various strips. So if you want, you can change that. You can make the dial stripped. So for that you have to use something called as strip thickness. So if you declare strip thickness equal to 0, there will not be any strips. So it will be a continuous line. So if I run this, we will just give it a line that you are seeing previously. Now I want to change the value to 2. So you can see there are segments in the meter dial, and these are strips. By the way, there is no 1. If you use 1, it will not become, it will be for value stripe thickness equal to 1. If you run that particular value, there won't be any meter dial. As you can see from here, there is no meter dial. So the stripe thickness value is available. Value equal to 0 means that there is no stripes. It will be a complete line. While value equal to 1 means that there is no stripe at all. And for value equal to 2, there will be stripes. And henceforth from there, you can increase the stripe thickness. So I'm going to give it like 5. So you can increase the thickness. You can give it 10 if you want. Now I'll give it 20. Like that you can change it. Now let's say you want to show what your meter represents. For example, if it is temperature, pressure or speed or something like that, you have to have some text that is below the meter. So for that we have to use the parameter called as subtext. So when you use the term subtext equal to, let's say, temperature, so it will be written below the meter. As you can see, the temperature is written here. It is the default font. So you can change the font of the subtext also. For that, you can use the subtext font. So that will be this one. And you have to give a tuple containing the font, the size of the font, and the type, whether it is a bold or italic or something like that, that you have to give. So I'll give the tuple, that will be this one. And then we'll give it a name. Let's say Comic Sans, comma. And you can give the size of the font, that will be 20 or something like that. Then you can say it is bold or italic. Now you can see that the temperature is shown in Comic Sans and it is bold and the size is 20. You can change the size, let's say 40. Now it is covering the meter dial. Now you can change the font to Times New Roman. So now the font is Times New Roman and the size is 20. You can also change to other fonts like Arial, etc. Now you can see that the color of the text is now slightly gray. Now you can also change the color of the text by using the parameter called as the subtext style. So you have to use the TTK's built-in themes like the primary, danger, etc. So you can find that in their own website, this one. These themes, primary, secondary, success, info, warning, danger, light and dark. This can be used to provide color to your text. So I think we are now using secondary here. I will change into danger. So I'll go here and change the subtext. This is actually subtext style, not font style. So you can see the color has changed into the danger theme. That means it will be red. You can also change it to warning or any of the colors provided by the theme. So now it's yellow. This one, warning. You can also use info or success or something like that. You can see that the color of the meter dial is also blue. You can also change that by using the boot style. So it's similar to the subtext style only, but it applies to the meter, that is the dial of the meter, this one. So I'll change it to something else. So we'll go here and we will use the boot style. I will give it as danger. So you can see that the color of the dial as well as the number has changed. Now this is all red, which means that we are using the boot style equal to danger. So you can also use something like success. That will be much better. So it will all be green. So you can see that the color is green. Now we also have an option to control the meter by using the mouse. So you have to make interactive this parameter equal to true. So you put a comma here. So now that we can control the dial by using the mouse. So you can use it. By default, it actually will be false because you don't want to control the meter. Meter will be showing some parameters. So there is an option to control the meter through the mouse also. So that can be done by using interactive equal to true. By default, it is equal to false. So you cannot control it. You have to explicitly make it true to control the dial. You can also provide a side text also. So that is known as the text left. So that text will be here, left 90. So if you want to provide some sort of a information regarding that, you can provide that. There is also a text right. So you go there. So it will come here, right side of the number, that is the 90. So if you want, you can provide some sort of a percentage or some value like that. If you are showing percentage, you can provide percentage here. So it will be 90%. I just want to tell you that all the information that I have already told you is available on our website. You can get it from here. And if you like our content, do like and subscribe. And if you have any doubts, you can put it on the comment section. I will try to explain it. So you can also get the code from our GitHub. Now we need a way to control the motion of the meter so that we can display some useful information. So for that purpose, the ttkbootstrap.meter widget has some functions. One of those functions is called as the step function. This is the step function. So the step function helps to increment the meter dial by a particular number. Here you can see that the meter dot step and the value is 1. So every time this particular function is called, it will increment the meter, that is the meter dial, by 1. So you can create a clock or a countdown timer or a count up timer, anything, by using this step function. So I'll explain the code. So this is the program that we have created using the step function. So by using this particular button, you can increment the meter. Now it starts from 0 and it will go all the way up to 100. So if you click, it will be 1. Next click, it will be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that. So it will go all the way up to 100. So this is how you use a step function. So you can use it to create a countdown or count up timer. Now I'm going to explain the code. The code is same. You have to import the ttkbootstrap and stuff. Here we are creating the meter. Size is there, padding is there, everything is there. And we are making the interactive is equal to false. So we are not giving that particular value here. And the amount total equal to 100. And we are using amount used equal to 0. That means that when you run this program at first, there will not be any meter because we are starting from 0. And then we are also creating a button. So for that we are using this is the button variable, and we are using the ttk.button and text equal to increment meter. That is the name of the button. And then we will use a command. Command parameter will point to a particular function that will do the increment function. So the name of that particular function is increment underscore button underscore handler. So we have defined it here, this particular function. So when you run the program and when you click the meter button, the code will go into this particular function. Then here it will call the meter dot step function. So it will increment the meter by 1. So next time you press the button, it will increment it by 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like up to 100. So you're here we are defining the meter as meter. So here meter dot step, and one is the incrementation factor. So I can also give it 2. Then it will increment by 2. So it will be 2, 4, 6, like that. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 10, like that. So this is how you use the increment function. So this meter.step function has a strange behavior. Since I have used amount used equal to 0, the step will increment from 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that. So, but if I change it to some other value like 10, so it will start from 10. I'll run the code right now. Okay. Now what it will do is that instead of, so if I press this button, it will go there and it will step by +1. But it actually will do it like -1. Let me show you. So it will go 9, 8, 7, 6. It will actually decrement by 1. Then after it reaches 0, it will increment by 1. Then it will behave normally. So you have to be careful about this particular behavior. So you have to use some logic here to check whether the value you are starting is 1 like that. You can also decrement it, like if you use -1, it will decrement from -1. Now we'll be using another function used to control the meter. This one does not increment or decrement. It is used for setting a particular value inside the meter. Let's say you want to go from 65 to 35 or something like that. You can explicitly use the particular value. That is, if you want 35, the meter position to be 35, you can give it directly 35. For that, you get the set function, that is the set method, this one. So you can use the meter dot amount used variable, that is the amount, that this one. So that is the one that will be controlling the meter dial. So if it is 0, it will be 0. It will be 10, it will move like that. So we'll use the set method to change that value to the number 65. So that is inside a button handler. So if I run this program, the value first will be 10. That will be this one. And when I press this particular set meter value, it will jump to 65. So let's say you're getting this particular value from another source, such as a serial port or something. You can use this function to continuously change the meter value. The function is similar. We are using a button. This is the button. And we are using the text equal to name of the button. And then command is equal to the function which will run when we press the set button. So you can, when you press the button, it will go here and it will set the used variable to 65. You can also get the current value, that is what value the meter is currently at, using the get function. So this will print the current value at which the meter is stuck. So one way is that you can get this particular value. For example, you can create a function that will get values from a separate source. For example, from an Arduino sending temperature values or something like that. And then you can use the set function to set that particular meter. So it will continuously change depending upon the values it receives. So I don't have an Arduino right now. I'll make a program later. So I'll use something else. I'll use a random variable to create some random numbers. So every time you press the button, the dial of the meter will change based on random numbers. So the amount total is equal to 100. That is the maximum value of the meter is 100. So I will be creating a random value between 1 and 100. So for that we have to use the import random module. So we'll import the random module, which is used for generating the random numbers. So we will use the random int. That is that we will be generating an integer only. You can also generate float between 1 and 100. Then that particular value will be in this particular variable, and we will give this particular variable to the set function of the meter.amount used variable dot set. This is not required actually. I just put it for debugging purpose. You can just remove it if you want to. So this function works the same way, but instead of a particular value, a random value will be sent. So I'll run the code. So it start from 10. So every time when we press this button, a random number will be generated between 1 and 100. That will be used to set the amount used variable of the meter, that is this one. So now it is 36. Now I press it again, another random variable will be there, like that. So you can continuously change the meter. You can see that the values are moving here also. That is because we are using the amount used variable dot get. It will get the current meter position and display it here. So you can change it, this particular function with, let's say, get serial port data or something like that. So when every time you press the button, it will get some data from the serial port. Let's say an Arduino is sending some temperature and it will display that particular value. I have not created this function. I'm just showing it for an example. So I'll make a program for that in the later videos. So do subscribe and like my video so I can make these kinds of video. So this is how you use a meter widget from the ttkbootstrap library. This is cross-platform and will work on all 3 major platforms like Linux, Windows and macOS. So you can use this to create beautiful meter widgets for displaying continuously varying data. So thank you for watching my video. Hope this will help you, and do subscribe and like to my channel. The code is in the GitHub, and I will also leave a link to our website and to the GitHub repo. So do check it out. Thank you.